Alright, there's a new thing that I'm signing on board for here. I got this one from Webster Tarpley, and besides his nonsense about saying cutting food stamps is genocide and all that, this is one good idea that he has, and it's not his idea, but he's pushing it heavily. And his big point is 1% Wall Street sales tax, at least 1%. In light of what's going on in Cyprus and Europe and everywhere else, it's time the bankers pay. You know, they want the people to pay. It's okay for them to confiscate, depositors' money. The government is going to confiscate depositors' money to pay for stuff, but the bankers who created the whole financial crash in the first place have not been brought to financial justice. You know, they get a golden parachute and they walk away with all their money and more, while ordinary everyday people, working class people, industrialists, engineers, real business people involved in the real economy, productive enterprise, and not just moving money around on the computer like, I'm going to move this into that. Oh, there goes $1 billion in derivative speculation, all that nonsense. The bankers need to pay. It's not like he's calling for, if you haven't heard about this proposal, basically what it is all the big banks, they're trading out there, and they're trading, really fast. They trade the securities, the stocks, the bonds, and they, that's how they make money. They trade in such high volume, and they don't really buy it to invest in it. They just buy it to turn around and pass it on to someone else. And Webster Tarpley, his idea that he got from a guy named Tobin, I guess, it's supposed to be called a Tobin tax, is if you put a little tax on the banksters' speculation, then they're gonna at least reduce the amount of speculation they're doing, and all of this derivatives nonsense will be less profitable for them, and it's gonna go away. And if anybody's out there thinking, well, oh, that's not very free market, well, it's more free market than the system we've currently got, because remember, these bankers do not produce anything of value. How they get their money is they go to the Fed. The Fed loans it to them at 0% interest, basically. It's not exactly zero, but the rates just keep getting lower and lower. And then what they do is they come around and they mess around with the money, they trade it, and then what the commercial banks, some of the big ones, will do is they'll pass it on to you. And if you want to borrow something, they mark it up, a few percentage points, depending on what you're trying to get, a home mortgage or auto loan. And if they're getting all this free money, they need to at least be paying some of it back into the system with this financial transaction tax, or 1% Wall Street sales tax. Webster Tarpley's pushing this a lot, and I think he's got the right idea. The reason the American economy right now is so gutted is because we have too many yuppies trying to go work in New York and move money around on the computer instead of becoming, real productive employees. That's America's economy was not built on yuppies trading stuff on a computer and going to work in a suit and defrauding the American people of their wealth, but it was built by people going out, building factories, investing in factories, railroads, oil wells, power plants, dams, roads, everything, infrastructure. So I think this is a good idea from Tarpley. I don't really want to come out and say I'm in favor of any tax, but this is the one that they need to pass. The banksters are speculating on, it's really the people's money from the Federal Reserve. It's created by a government dictate, and they've got to pay for it. They wreck the economy, so they can time for them to pay up and stop collapsing everything. And when they do collapse something, they need to have all their money taken away from them, and their net worth should be zero. So if you want to read up more on it, go and hear what Tarpley has to say about it, how to advocate for it, and why it really makes a lot of sense. Usually, no tax is going to make a sense, but to tax the banksters, yeah, that's a good idea. If anybody should be paying it, it's them, not we the people, the productive. The New York yuppies moving money around on the computer, time for them to pay.